Welcome back to the Truly Motivated Warriors YouTube channel. If you have clicked on this video, it means you are hungry. It means you are tired of the ordinary. It means you are looking for that spark to ignite the fire inside of your soul. You are a warrior, and you are in the right place. Today we are going to talk about a man whose ideas literally reshaped the way humanity accesses knowledge. We are talking about a man who built an empire from a messy living room in a college dorm. I am talking about the CEO founder of Google, Larry Page. As of today, he sits at the absolute pinnacle of global wealth, with an estimated net worth of over $290 billion. But warriors, listen to me closely. This is not a story about billions of dollars. This is a story about the mindset of a champion. This is a story about looking at the impossible and saying, why not? This is about a man who faced physical ailments that literally took his voice away, but he refused to let the world silence his impact. If you need motivation today, grab a notebook, sit up straight, and pay attention. Because the blueprint for greatness leaves clues, and today we are decoding the 10 times mindset of Larry Page. For Larry Page, born in East Lansing, Michigan, it began in an environment of absolute curiosity. His father was a pioneer in computer science and artificial intelligence, and his mother was a computer programming instructor. But it wasn't just his DNA that made him great. It was his environment. Larry recalled that his childhood home was usually a complete mess, scattered with computers, science gadgets, and popular science magazines everywhere. He spent a huge amount of time just poring over those books and magazines. How many of you are waiting for the perfect conditions to start your journey? You are waiting for the perfect desk, the perfect office, the perfect bank account. Larry Page didn't wait. He immersed himself in the mess. When he was just 6 years old, he started playing with the first generation personal computers his parents left lying around. By the time he was in elementary school, he was the very first kid to turn in an assignment printed from a word processor. His older brother taught him how to take things apart, and soon young Larry was dismantling everything in the house just to see how it worked. Let that sink in, warriors. He didn't just accept the world as it was, he took it apart to understand the mechanics of reality. By the age of 12, he already knew he wanted to be an inventor and start a company. But he didn't just study machines, he studied time. Larry played the flute and saxophone, attending a summer arts camp. He later said that his musical training inspired his obsession with speed and computing. In music, you have to hit a beat in milliseconds, in fractions of a second. He took that musical timing and applied it to the speed of the Google search engine. When he went to the University of Michigan for his undergraduate degree, he didn't just read textbooks. He built an inkjet printer entirely out of Lego bricks and reverse engineered ink cartridges because he wanted a cheap way to print large posters. He even proposed replacing the university's bus system with a driverless monorail network. Warriors, you have to use what you have to build what you want. Stop complaining about your lack of resources. Larry Page arrived at Stanford University for his PhD. The internet was a chaotic, disorganized wilderness. Conventional search engines were just counting how many times a search keyword appeared on a web page. It was basic. It was flawed. It was average. Truly motivated warriors do not settle for average. Larry teamed up with a fellow PhD student named Sergey Brin. They decided to look at the problem entirely differently. Larry reasoned that the entire web was based on the premise of citation. In the academic world, a paper is considered important if many other papers cite it. Why not apply that to the internet? If a website has many high-quality backlinks pointing to it, it must be valuable. They called their first project Backrub, and they developed an algorithm known as PageRank. But they didn't have millions of dollars in funding yet. They didn't have a massive laboratory. What did they do? They turned Larry's dormitory room into a machine lab. They extracted spare parts from cheap, inexpensive computers to build the processing power they needed. When their project grew too big, it caused Stanford's entire computing infrastructure to experience problems. That is the kind of impact you need to make. You need to push the limits until the system can't hold you anymore. 1997, they changed the name to Google, a play on the mathematical term Google, which is a 1 followed by 100 zeros. It represented their massive ambition to organize an unimaginable amount of information. In 1998, they took a leave of absence from their PhD programs, walked away from safety, and incorporated Google in a friend's garage in Menlo Park, California. Are you willing to walk away from your comfort zone? Are you willing to trade a safe path for a revolutionary one? They had a vision to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, and they never looked back. As Google grew into one of the most powerful companies in the world, Larry Page established a mindset that every single one of you needs to adopt today. It is called the 10 times mentality. Listen to this closely. Larry Page demanded that his employees create products and services that were at least 10 times better than the competition. Not 10% better, 10 times better. He believed that if you only aim for a 10% improvement, you are just doing the same thing as everyone else. But if you aim to be 10 times better, you are forced to completely reinvent the way you operate. He famously said, if you're not doing some things that are crazy, then you're doing the wrong things. Warriors, are your goals crazy enough? Are your dreams big enough to scare you? Because if they aren't, you are aiming too low. When Larry looked at acquiring new businesses, he didn't just look at standard financial gains. He used something he called the toothbrush test. He would look at a product and ask, is it something you will use once or twice a day, and does it make your life better? He prioritized long-term usefulness over short-term profits, and his ambitions did not stop at the internet. He poured his wealth into revolutionary moonshot projects. He invested heavily in alternative energy technologies like e-solar and Makani power, pushing the envelope on high-altitude wind technology and advanced solar thermal power to make renewable energy cheaper than coal. He funded the independent initiative called Calico, a biotechnology project aimed at extending human lifespan, curing aging, and fighting associated diseases. He invested his own personal capital into electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, literally bringing flying cars to life with companies like Kitty Hawk, Z Aero, and Opener, now Pivotal, which created the Blackfly personal air vehicle. He wasn't just trying to make money, he was trying to push the human race forward. You must adopt this 10 times mindset. Stop settling for incremental progress and start demanding radical transformation in your life. But every warrior faces a battle they did not ask for. Every champion faces an obstacle that threatens to break them. For Larry Page, that obstacle was his own body. Around 1999, after suffering from a severe cold, he was diagnosed with paralysis in his left vocal cord. Years later, in the summer of 2012, another cold struck, and his right vocal cord also became paralyzed. He was also diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Because of this incredibly rare nerve condition, his voice became extremely soft, hoarse, and raspy. The paralysis made it difficult for him to speak at length, and because vocal cord issues affect the airway, it also reduced his ability to breathe at peak aerobic capacity. Imagine being the CEO of one of the largest, most influential companies in the history of the world, and you literally lose your ability to speak loudly. Imagine the frustration. Imagine the doubt. Did Larry Page quit? Did he step down and hide from the world in defeat? No, he adapted. He communicated differently. He kept running the company. Despite his reduced aerobic capacity, he proudly stated that he still had more stamina than his friends when they went out kite surfing. What would you attempt if failure wasn't an option?